it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a really exciting video. I swear, other than like my agent announcement video, this was the one that I was most excited to film because I am such a stats nerd. And I know there are some of you that are just like me and love this kind of stuff. I also think it could be kind of helpful for writers about to enter the query trenches, just to, you know, be able to see my experience and maybe see, I don't know, this might be like yours. I also am disclaiming this by saying I am not a math professional. If you find a problem with my math, you know, you don't have to tell me. You can just let me live in happy ignorance. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So for those of you that didn't know, I started querying in March of 2019 with my first book, which was When the Sea Came for Us. And I queried that for a total of 5 months, ending on August 16th. And then immediately after, I started querying my second novel, which is the one that got me the agent, called The Glass Witch. And I queried that from September 19th, 2019 until January 26th, 2021. So that one was roughly 16 months. For my total amount of queries for When the Sea Came for Us, I sent 52, and for The Glass Witch, it was 65. Total rejections, I didn't really think I needed a chart for that. Obviously, everything in the end was rejected except The Glass Witch got one offer. So full requests for When the Sea Came for Us, I had 8, and for The Glass Witch, I had 16. Partial requests for The Glass Witch, I had 6, and for When the Sea Came for Us, I had 3. And my request rate for The Glass Witch, it was 34, and for When the Sea Came for Us, it was 21%. Request rate meaning out of all of the queries sent, this is how often agents were requesting to either read the partial or the full manuscript. By the way, I'm gonna leave a couple query agenting lingo vocab words down below. I got a couple comments on my last video asking if I could explain things such as like form rejection and submission and things like that. So I will put a couple words down below and what I think they mean. If you have any other questions, maybe words you've heard me use you don't know, I will do my best to answer them if you leave a comment. Next, we're going to talk about the reasons for rejections. So this was kind of difficult to go through all of the queries. I did this on Fools. I thought it would just be easier that way because a lot of times with just query rejections, they are just forms. Again, if these words are like totally confusing you, check down below for those definitions. But I decided to do this just with the full requests or the partial requests. So the first section would be the agent rejected using the term connect. They did not connect to the voice, the narrative, the character, something of that nature. The next category was when an agent uses not a fit, not a match, not passionate enough, that type of language. And specifically because I was querying The Glass Witch during COVID, I did get 2 rejections that cited specifically COVID reasons for why they could not take me on. These are all really difficult to analyze. I mean, like, there's a chance that someone can use the connection excuse in their forms, and you can use not a match or not a fit in your form. So how often do they really feel like it's not a fit, or is that just like their stereotypical form mass response? I don't know, but at least you can make your own opinions from the data here. Next, I have some stats about how the pandemic affected the response times for my queries and Fools. In fact, if you are interested in learning what it was like to query in 2020 or during the whole pandemic, I have an entire video on that I will put in the cards and down below for you to check out. But pre-pandemic, query responses took about 30 days. And then during pandemic, it was 46 days on average. And then for full request pre-pandemic, it was about 20 days. And during the pandemic, it shot up to 141 days, or roughly 5 months on average, which I thought was really interesting that the query response time didn't really change, but the amount of time that agents had to put towards reading your entire book like really expanded. And now we can look at the form rejections versus the personalized rejections that I received for both books. So with The Glass Witch, 41% were form rejections and 59% were personalized. Also, I'd like to add in here that like this is just me assuming, like you obviously can't ask the agent like, hey, is this your form? So this is just me assuming from like context clues of the rejection that yeah, it's probably a form. It looks like it was like rushed. It looks like it's probably like a mass send type email. So this is just speculation. But yeah. And then for when the C came for us, form rejections was 29% and personalized was 71%. I thought it would be interesting too to tally up the number of no responses that I received to my queries. So for the glass switch, there were 19 no responses, and for when the C came for us, there were 14 no responses. Just for my own sake, because I like to keep organized, I usually view a no response like anything that has not been responded to in 3 months unless otherwise stated by their agency. I just usually consider that a rejection. And then I thought it would be fun to compare between the two books how often I was querying older or more established agents versus newer agents. Now I'm considering someone as a newer agent if they've been, you know, accumulating their own clients for a year or less. And you can see here from the data that with the glass switch, I was a lot more open to querying new agents. And I also think there was a bigger boom in 2020 surrounding like agents needing to branch out and understanding like, hey, we're not very diverse. And so I think in the summer, there was like this large boom where everyone just like was taking on new clients because they wanted to fix that. People were calling out literary agencies for being very like white, straight, able-bodied, all of this stuff. So with the glass switch, I was lucky enough to have like a whole new pool of amazing new agents at amazing literary agencies to query, whereas with When the Sea Came for Us, I queried a lot less because there just weren't as many literary agents acquiring new agents. And then just a few more little quick fun things I wanted to share. The quickest response on a full request that I received was in 3 days, and the longest time it took an agent to get back to me on a full request was 13 months. I also had someone ask a specific question, and they wanted to know how many queries were rejected before pulling and revising my query for When the Sea Came for Us, because I have mentioned that a couple times that I queried it. I kind of sent maybe too many queries out and kind of like shot my shot. Then when I went back out in the query trenches with a new query, my request rate went up like 36%. So they were wondering how many queries I had sent out at that point. So it was all of the queries that I had sent before May 23rd of 2019, and that was 23 queries, or about 44% of the total agents that I queried. I pretty much blew it there with all 23 because I had a really, not a crappy query. It was a good query. Like, it got me into author mentor match, but it just wasn't good enough to get me the high request rate that the next one did. Those were all my query stats. I hope you guys found that interesting. I just love deep diving into stats, and so I can like compare to like my experience to others. I hope you guys found this helpful and that you can use it as you go forward when you start querying, or if you're querying now. If you have any more questions, I will do my best to answer them if you leave them in a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!